Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies coming at you with more old world goodness. Games Workshop very kindly send me out a box of the awesome new Knights of the Realm on foot. And I'm going to be painting one of them in today's video. My goal is to create a video for painting the traditional red and black scheme that Games Workshop is leaning on heavily for the new Bretonnians, and trying to make a video that's easier to follow, quicker and simpler than the one that they released, because I wasn't really a big fan of the video that Games Workshop released for painting up these guys. I have been an advocate quite strongly for the release of the older plastic kits. I was very happy to get old Bretonnian Knights back and old Pegasus Knights and so on and so forth. I was having a great time painting them up. I had no qualms about using older miniatures to play this new game system. My heart was twanged just a little bit whilst I was painting up these guys, because I got to experience what it would have been like to paint up a new knight, and I could only imagine what one of these miniatures mounted on a horse would actually look like. It would have been incredible. This miniature was so fun to paint, and I cannot wait to share it with you in today's video. Before I get into it, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of my active patrons. I know I say it at the beginning of every video, but I think it's important for me to always thank them. They are super important for keeping this channel going. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. If you're interested in getting involved with that yourself, there's links in the description below. Access to a private Discord server and an extra video every single week are just two of the awesome benefits of getting involved. Okay, without further ado, let's get stuck in and painting an awesome knight. So this is the Knight Champion. I don't know if he's actually called the Champion, but he's the Sergeant or the Boss or whatever of the new Knights of the Realm on foot unit. He is a staggeringly beautiful miniature. The entire squad is. And I honestly did not think I was going to enjoy painting this model as much as I did. It was a thoroughly enjoyable process, and I am very much looking forward to getting the rest of the squad painted. Potentially getting another squad so I can make an entire other squad with the big great weapon options. Potentially, we shall see, I guess. The problem I have with the great weapon options as an aesthetic choice is you lose the big flat surface of the shield to add the heraldry and like design and stuff that you want to use. Like the big transfer, which I think really makes Bretonnian miniatures, is having that transfer. And without that, it just seems a little bit bizarre. If I could put all the shields on their backs or something, maybe, but I don't know. The option of in the rules actually allows you to take the hand weapon, the shield, and the great weapon. So when I play this miniature, this unit, they will have all the options. Trudging across the board, they will have their heavy armor and shield for protection from arrows, and then when they get into combat, they will take out their great swords and pummel the ever-loving hell out of somebody. So best of both worlds, I guess. As you can see, I'm going for the traditional red and black scheme. The reason I'm going for the traditional red and black scheme, first of all, a large portion of my Bretonnian army is going to end up in this scheme. And then a couple of mercenary units or sellswords or other noble houses who will send knights to the cause will be their own different heraldries all over the place. Another reason is that Games Workshop did this same painting video with this same painting scheme. And they do this often where they will create a painting scheme, and for some reason, I don't really understand it. They make it way more complicated, way more time intensive than they need to. I don't get it. If they're trying to get you guys to purchase these miniatures and paint them up following their guides, why would they not make it as easy to follow and easy to do as possible? They don't use their contrast properly. Like, it's just all heavy base coats, and it would take, honestly, it would take like days and days and days of painting to get that squad painted under their routine. Whereas I reckon you could get this scheme painted in a day or two. So let me know if you guys have watched their video and then you've come across and you have watched this video. Please let me know if you think this one is more helpful or less helpful, or what you like about this one or what you like about their one. I would love to get your opinion on whether it's just in my head or not. But whenever I watch their videos, I'm not inspired to run off and paint something in the way they've done it. It just seems like they put my work in, but anyway, we'll get to the end of this video. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more. So, as you can see, I used Fleshed Hairs Red and Black Templar to get the red and black gun. I didn't quite go for the quartered scheme. I like the big red tabard. I did go for the quartered scheme across the shield. I think that's more important, but I do just like the big red flowing robes and then the black trim on the bottom. And I know it looks a little bit off right now, but wait until you get to the end of the video. It does look really nice at the end. Sigval Burgundy was used for the handles. I always use a burgundy color for handles of swords and daggers and stuff like that. And obviously he's got a dagger hanging off his belt, and obviously the sword in his hand are going to get coated with that. Simple, quick, and effective. I actually have a whole story planned around the idea of this particular unit And hopefully that will become more apparent when I get to the transfer stage. But obviously, if you're playing Bretonnians, the idea is that you would have knights on horseback. So why would you take knights on foot? Well, I personally plan on doing an entire infantry Bretonnian army. I am going to do an entire knightly and mounted Bretonnian army, but I also want to do quite a heavy infantry one. And my thought process behind a heavy infantry one is these are the siege breakers. So this particular force is designed to go in and take enemy castles and keeps, well dug in fortifications or embankments, places where you wouldn't send horses in. There'd be pitfalls or stake traps or anything like that. Well, in that case, you're going to have to get these solid blocks of soldiers to go in and dig out the enemy. And this being the elite center, this block of knights is where the fighting will be fiercest, where the breach in the wall will happen, or where the gates go down. These are the guys that will rush in and clear the space and hopefully take the castle. In order to tie this in a little bit more in my story so I never forget, I actually have white castle symbols from the Bretonnian Men-at-Arms transfer sheet, and I'm going to use that, or the old Bretonnian Men-at-Arms sheet, I should say. They don't make this particular sheet anymore. And I'm going to use this on their transfer, and it does look really cool. Wait until you see it at the end. It fits perfectly, and I think it suits them. And it's that whole idea of these are loyal to the same baron as the rest of my army. The one with the claw of the axe. I can never remember the bloody name of it. The axe is the usual transfer, but seems how these guys have a specific role. Maybe they have performed epic deeds, so they've been given a subset of the iconography, so therefore they're allowed to carry the castle symbol on their shield, denoting what their purpose is. And I also plan on doing like siege ladders and siege towers and battering rams and stuff for that particular force. Because obviously it's the border princes where these guys are based. The border princes play a huge role in the new old world lore. And that is just hundreds and hundreds of these like micro fiefdoms, all these lords thinking they have more control or less control, and the amount of infighting between the two is so much, which means that there is actually more sieges that happen than people would probably ever talk about or discover. And I do hope there is a set of siege rules that is brought out at some stage, because I would definitely love to get my castle walls out and play some proper siege games. I think that will be fairly cool. Now I get into the pit of the painting that I actually really enjoy, and that's the layering stage, where I go in with a fine pointed brush and I follow the lines of the fabric and the armor and the sharp edges of shields and get all that layering done, making it look as neat as possible, adding lots of texture and lots of layers, and really making the miniature pop. It's such an enjoyable process that if you let the process be enjoyable, you'll be surprised how much you do enjoy it. And of course, the quartered shield on this particular color scheme is the thing that takes the most time. You do have to go a little bit back and forth. You can obviously tape off the quarters if that's what you want to do, but I think I have, or hopefully I feel like I have a steady enough hand and I can kind of work myself back and forth between the red and the black to give myself the kind of quartered effect that looks okay. Obviously the transfer will cover up a multitude of errors or mistakes. Like I think I've got nearly 100 men-at-arms with shields to paint. I've only got 10 of them done so far, but I will be doing the quartered red and black shields on pretty much all of those. And it will take time, but I think it will be worth it. We're going to go up another layer of red because I do want that to be the color that pops the most. Whereas the black, we will just do one layer of highlighting with Corvus Black in a moment. But the red, I think, needs to just jump out on the army. And I think it does. I think with the 3 stages, with the contrast, with the shade, and then the Mephiston and the Evil Suns, it does make that red pop. Now, obviously, for things like the shield, you are going to get more of a solid coat, so the different layering is only really there to build up the same tone. We're not going to leave shadows and stuff. But obviously, with all the fabric and all the broken lines, you can see I'm taking my time. Especially with the Evil Suns, I'm going much lighter. Much less of the paint is being left behind. And we're just aiming for some of the higher points to give that really nice kind of like highlighted effect across the back of the miniature. I must say I really do enjoy this style, and like I said at the beginning, like this is what a modern Bretonnian knight looks like. I can only imagine if they've ever made a modern Bretonnian mounted knight, what that will look like and how that will feel. It will be crazy. And it's now kind of at this stage where I'm looking at all of my Cities of Sigmar miniatures for Age of Sigmar, which are so beautiful, but I just have no will to play Age of Sigmar these days, considering how engrossed and how much I'm loving the old world. I think that's going to be my fantasy fix for the foreseeable future, which means I'm very tempted to grab some of those Cities of Sigmar miniatures and convert them onto square bases. And like, I've seen somebody rank up an army of them already. I didn't see them painted yet, but just ranked up. They look so good. And I think I would very much love to continue on with that idea of like a border prince force. That's why they don't match the standard empire. The particular prince is well off, so he can afford better armor, better equipment, and so on. I actually have another plan for who my border prince is actually going to be miniature wise, and that'll be a video for I think Saturday, and I'm actually really excited to bring that one to you as well. It should be a lot of fun, and hopefully it'll help me expand the idea of, you know, how to build border prince armies, or what to do with collections, or what to do with old miniatures that don't have rules anymore but you still want to play with. There should always be a workaround on how you want to do that, and hopefully the video on Saturday will help give you a grasp of what to do with that. We're coming up now to the kind of final few details, layering the brown. We did the black already. Obviously we have all the metallics to do. Normally when I layer metallics, I still like to keep it quite dark. That's where the lead belcher comes in. But since these are Bretonnians, they know how to take care of their equipment. Their armor is very finely crafted by smiths, so these guys like to keep it polished. So they will go up with a brighter silver. So that's why I work with Ironbreaker. And then slowly layer up and build up all those armor and segmented plates with this. It's a really simple highlight. For some parts I like to do the scratchy lines, and for some parts like the armor going up his legs and arms and stuff like that, I like to get a more of a solid coat, just leaving the darker tone in all the little lines and all the little gaps in the armor. Just help to make it pop. Obviously this guy is wielding a beautiful sword, so don't make sure you get a nice coat on the blade. And then of course I'm going to use the same silver paint to highlight all the gold. I often use the same metallic silver to highlight the silvers and gold across a miniature. I think this helps tie the two metallics together. It still makes the gold pop beautifully, and it works a treat. If you can just do a little bit of a dry brush with it. If you have a steady enough hand, you're kind of okay with putting a few scratch highlights or pointed ones, then go for it. This is the little castle symbol that I got off the old Bretonnian Men-at-Arms transfer sheet, which, like I said, they don't make anymore. And obviously I'm going to slide this on. I didn't really know if this was going to look well on the shield until after I applied it. I was ready to remove it and just put an axe symbol on it, but then all of a sudden I put it into place, and I thought this works really well. Like, this looks awesome, and it immediately helped me tell the story of what their purpose was. Obviously, if you look out across the battlefield from the walls of your castle and you see this unit of armored knights with the siege breaker shields, maybe you're going to think twice about what you're going to do. Maybe you're going to decide not to put up much of a fight. Maybe you're going to surrender, or maybe, you know, they're the guys you need to target with all your archers because they're coming for you. I used a little bit of case foam and some brown paint to add some chipping to the shield, help blend the castle transfer in with the chips from the shield. And I didn't get it on camera, but I did do it again very lightly with a little bit of silver, added a grass tuff, and then Bob's your uncle, if you have an Uncle Bob. I finished off my first Knight of the Realm on foot, and I love it. I really thoroughly enjoyed the whole process, and I would be more than happy to continue painting more and more of these guys over the course of the next couple of days to get the entire unit finished up. I think this as a sculpt is 10 out of 10. I love it. And it has finally kind of made me wonder what new Bretonnian Knights would have looked like if they had have bothered sculpting them. I still love the old ones, but I can only imagine how beautiful they would have been. That's just me. Guys, hope you guys enjoyed this particular video. I'll be jumping on now and to give you my final thoughts in a moment after a couple of these still images, give you an idea of what the finished knight will actually look like on the tabletop. I love those shields. Okay guys, and there we have it. The first new knight on foot is ready for the tabletop. I just have to paint 19 more of him, and then I'm ready to play some games. I really, and I mean from the bottom of my heart, really enjoyed painting this miniature up. It was so much fun, and I literally cannot wait to get stuck in to the rest of the unit. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you give the video a like, ask me any questions you want in the comments below, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on more old world goodness that I will be bringing you very soon. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one.